I know.
Christmas.
Yeah, Merry
It's
Christmas.
everywhere.
Happy Thanksgiving. It's everywhere. Rob Brown in Memphis, Brendan Martin in Ocala, Florida, Marion County. Okay, a lot to cover today in the Hour of Power. Okay, brought to you by Landers Ford, Hewlett and Dunn, Rumble Boxing, HempForPros.com, Sidelines.live. Check out all of our sponsors. Support them. We love them. All right, we got Dave Bartoo, College Football Matrix, on here, and he was just whetting the appetite with some of the numbers he's going to give out today. I suggest you get pen and paper handy because this is mind-blowing stuff. If you're comfortably numb with what's going on in college football now, he's going to shake you up. Doug Dean in Birmingham, Frank Duffy on the eve of his first ever duck hunt down in Louisiana. God love you, man. You're going to get hooked. It's an addiction. Take a picture with your phone of the QR codes. We are live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. 8 channels live streaming. That is hard to do. And then Brendan puts reels up and stuff out all the time. Share us and like us. That means more than you know. It's an awesome day in front of us. Hey, man, you can't say I'll believe it when I see it. You got to see it to believe it. So let's get started, ladies and gentlemen, friends, countrymen, Romans. Dave Bartoo, always wearing a cool hat. That is Oregon has the coolest team hats. I want a hat like Dave Bartoo. Dave, you were telling me some numbers when I was driving to Little Rock to meet John Hartwell Wednesday night. And
yeah,
man, that Hartwell, he really likes you. He goes, man, Bartoo's numbers are off the charts. You gave me some numbers about time management and all, and I'll go ahead and get started, and we'll start bouncing it around on this Friday, November 21st. 'Twas the night before duck season, and we're all ready to hear you.
Well, the time management stuff came up because, well, it's head coach searching season, and for everybody listening out there, one of actually my biggest job this time of year is head coach searches, and then that will transition into building college football staffs and staffs in the NFL, and but one of the things this AD that I was working with was asking about is trying to identify different ways to identify who is going to be a successful coach at a higher level, going from G6 to Power 4, or transferring up from let's say lower one conference to another. And I never looked at it before. I never looked at game management tools, and so and we were starting to brainstorm them. For example, like non-judgmental penalties, right? False start, too many men on the field, right? Is that indicative of a poorly run program or a poorly run team that year, and they don't win as many games? So I went through all of that. There is only one non-judgmental flag that means anything when it comes down to game management. And then I started looking at some other stuff that he would throw at me, using timeouts, right? How many times do we hear on the air, you're watching a game, okay, check this one out, this one's awesome. You hear it on the air, he didn't save his timeouts for the last drive of the first half. How many times do you hear that when you're watching a game? A lot of times, right?
Yeah.
Right. And the same thing in the second half. So I ran through the last 3 years of every FBS college football game. How many timeouts you have in the last 4 minutes of a college football game are not indicative at all of winning and losing football games. There's no correlation. Zero. But in the first half, there was.
Oh, wow.
There was a strong correlation of how many timeouts you have in your back pocket with 4 minutes left. I used 4 minutes arbitrarily, right? And here's the thing. The more you had, the crappier the coach you are.
Makes sense.
What? The more timeouts you have at the end of the first half, the worse coach you are. Okay, here's this. So I was like, what? Why? Right? Because it was opposite of what you would expect. And the guys who use more timeouts before 4 minutes left in the first half, Day, Kiffin, Signetti. And my hypothesis is this, right? I haven't proven anything. I'm just throwing darts against the wall for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
But my thought is there's a certain level of football intuition deep down inside everybody, right? And some it's more than others. And I think a guy like Signetti and a guy like Kiffin, they are literally using these to control the game in the first half as they need them to gain control of the game long term.
More
Whereas a guy
cerebral.
who goes, I don't know what to do. I'm just gonna. How many times you get near, there's 2 minutes left. You're like, why hasn't this guy used any timeouts? It might be because he doesn't know how to use them.
Confidence.
And if they're in your back pocket at halftime, there's a good. I bet the data would show you, Dave.
Yeah.
That they missed opportunity to avoid a catastrophic play on defense that the timeouts are there for.
Right. And going back to the penalty, folks, when you are watching a game, especially early in the season, September, okay, you're watching the football game and you see delay of game. Open your eyes. Delay of all the non-judgmental penalties, okay, is delay of game, because usually it's the second time it's happened. What's usually happened is they burn one timeout already avoiding it, and they don't want to burn another one because the fans will realize you're a putz. You don't know what you're doing. Let me tell you, that delay of game on the offense, those things start piling up. That is a earmark of an offense that is in absolute disarray relative to the rest of the country.
Brian Kelly, Joe Sloan, first part of this year. You go back. I'll guarantee you they were heavy weighted in everything that you did. We had tons of them. Tons of them.
Yeah. Dave, let me throw something at you. One of the things you talk about, not calling timeouts. It's sort of like the fire over in your yard. You're doing a controlled burn and you're not paying attention, and all of a sudden it's just out of control. The wind's whipping. And then you look in basketball. I think it's fascinating, management of time. But so Signetti, Day, and Kiffin are the top three.
In the first half.
They use their timeout.
Yeah. Right? Yeah. And I haven't gone into it. The one thing, so I'm pulling my reports. Actually, there's a team report on your email right now, Rob. We started creating new reports here of advanced offensive and analysis on behavior. And one of the things, so like Lane Kiffin coming out of a timeout on fourth down, ran the ball 4 times. Okay. Lane Kiffin, after 2 successful runs it 68% of the time, 3 in a row. Right. And so what we're trying to do is get into the first quarter and look at what they're doing and when they're using their timeouts and seeing if we can find a pattern of game control to be able to pass on to other coaches to try to play smarter football.
Yeah.
My boy Bartoo is wicked smart. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Wicked smart.
But now what Bartoo will do? Hope you don't mind the last name. It's affectionate.
No. Look, Doug. I discovered a long time ago. My wife's a high school teacher. She actually discovered this. She goes, "The kids are comfortable with me when they start calling me Bartoo." So no, it's a term of endearment, buddy. It's good.
And that's how I mean it. Ask Duffy. It correlate. I mean, it's just a cool sounding last name on top of that. But listen, you know what you're going to cause now, Bartoo? There's going to be a bunch of dumbass coaches that start, pointlessly calling timeouts in the first and second quarter.
To be in the group,
trying to prove it. Actually, for Frank, it's Bartow. It's EAU, man. It's BARTU.
There you go. Love it.
Out there.
EAUX.
That's actually the original spelling. 17 generations ago, my great grandparents on my dad's side were born outside of Paris, France. It's EAU. It's Bartow. Is literally what it is.
Yeah.
But no, there's going to take a lot of time for adoption for things, right? And we're just getting into the analysis of timeout use and how important it is. It's like the analysis of the middle 8, right? That Belichick came up with a long time ago. The problem is everybody only looks at the middle 8. They don't look at the first 8 of the first quarter and the first 8 of the second quarter and the last 8 of the first quarter. People go, hey, Notre Dame dominated because they won the middle 8 of college football last year. People don't understand that Notre Dame had 11 17-point unanswered streaks in the first half last year. Their games were over by halftime. Ohio State was one of the worst in the middle 8 last year, but they led the country in the first 8 and the second 8 and the first 8 of the second quarter. It's just, oh yeah, no, but there's a lot of goofy coaching stuff. Go ahead, Doug.
And Dave, there are exceptions. There could be exceptions if you go back to the heyday of Gus Malzahn's hurry up, no huddle. I'm sure I saw it with my own eyes. There were times that we really could have benefited. Auburn could have benefited from a timeout in the first half, and Gus was so obsessed with gassing the defense that he thought that worked against him. And then you had Nolan Richardson's 40 minutes of hell. He probably didn't like too many timeouts, did
he? No, probably not. Probably not. But I will say the hidden gem of the middle 8, it's not about outscoring the team in that. It's the unanswered points. This is what I want everybody to do. Everybody, when you're watching football games, okay? Watching football games. And this is for all the fans out there. Watch unanswered points and what it does in that game. It's not about outscoring somebody in a certain section. It's points in a row. I'm coming out with something that is going to blow coaching minds.
Wow.
Blow minds. It's all about momentum.
Yeah.
So momentum, in like Doug referenced, the hurry up tempo is just kind of gassed. And a lot of that, Doug and I remember, Gus would script the first 16 plays. And other teams, defensive coordinators like a Jeremy Pruitt would adjust, but Gus would not. So I'm looking at coaching right now. Lane Kiffin in the SEC, what he does, they've got a running game now, and they did not have that earlier, but Lacey's really, really good. What teams are you seeing right now based on numbers and all that are trending toward the best? Is Georgia, you talk about Glenn Schumann, they haven't had a top 25 defense in the 2 years he's been the head coordinator, but Georgia's playing, it looks like to me, the best football of the top teams at just the right time. Agree or disagree?
Oh, man, 35-10. What a bunch of selection bias. Come on, Rob. Come on.
Okay, forget about it.
The SEC doesn't have a single team that is top 15 in offense and defensive scoring efficiency. Yeah. It looks like it's a really tough conference because somebody sucks at something. There's nobody with great balance across the board. There's no elite. Dude, a old Saban or Kirby Smart national championship team would boat race this conference. Absolutely smoke these guys. Now, that win at home against Texas. Look, Texas hasn't had an offense, and this is going to be the third consecutive year. Texas's offensive scoring efficiency has regressed, okay? Look, in our grading system, Steve Sarkisian is a fantastic offensive coordinator, but it seems like he has a difficulty selecting quarterbacks on his own because we keep taking a step back at Texas. Pete Kwiatkowski, the defensive coordinator, had been holding that whole ship up there. But you look at Georgia, yeah, they had one great game. And we know they are a top 3 talent team in the country. We know Kirby Smart is a top 3 head coach in the country. We know they are capable of putting it all together. The problem is, historically for me, nobody wins it that puts it all together in November. It's not the way it works. You're good all year, and then you kick everybody's butt in the playoffs or the championship game, and that's it. There's no lightning in a bottle really in college football. The closest thing is LSU, right? The lightning in the bottle. The year after, the year before, the national championship game with Joe Burrow. But what people don't understand is that team was top 25 in offense and defensive scoring the year before. That was a good football team, but suddenly people are like, oh my God, Ed Orgeron can win. I know. I am still shocked. I will never understand how Ed Orgeron, with his career profile, won a national title, but that's a different story altogether. So the point is, though, is what you're talking about, Rob, is you are trying to assimilate what's recently happening with Georgia and what we know about Georgia, right? The odds makers love Georgia because we know Georgia has the talent to do it. We knew Texas had the talent to do it. We knew Texas didn't have the coach to do it. I think Sarkisian right now is ranked 47th in head coaches active in college football right now. So great offensive coordinator, not so great head coach. But yeah, Georgia has it, but I just don't. I think it's too little, too late for them, and they're not going to. They could get to the title game, but I just don't think they have the numbers to win it all because nobody has won it all with their numbers like that.
And Dave, in terms of
Everybody's flawed.
Yeah,
is it anything? Almost you talk as if statistics are an immovable force that this black swan event cannot occur. I know you don't mean that, but for example, is
yes.
it possible that we get treated to a national championship game between Indiana and Texas Tech? Is there a world in which that kind of thing could happen?
Yes, right. When I talk about things, I tell stories with numbers. Okay, and even right now, talking right now, I'm not telling stories based on what I see on TV. I'm not an X's and O's guys. Never have been, never will be. I tell stories with numbers, and so whether it's talking to an athletic director or a head coach or here on air, is when I say it's never happened before, it's never happened before, right? But trends are made to be broken, right? And so I am essentially trying to be on the right side of the numbers. I think the best way to explain it one time is when I was talking to a head coach and he was going to hire an offensive coordinator, and he was so focused on the upside of this guy, the ceiling, right? And you've been around enough head coaches, Doug. You know these guys are like every single coach thinks they can go somewhere and win. Right. I mean, it is just a pervasive. I'm going to win. But nobody looks at the floor. Right. And so on the bad side of the numbers, which I don't usually talk about because people on the air, they're fans. You don't want to hear the negative side, right? If we want to go, if we want to go negative, we can talk about some defensive coach effect at like Mississippi State or offense at Kentucky or things like that. But this is a positive show and it's for kids. Kids can watch it. So, but no, to your point, Doug, there is. I'm not speaking in absolutes. I'm simply going. There's all this data, right? And 63% of it says this is going to happen, and 37% of it says this is going to happen. I'm going to take the 63 side. Could we get an Indiana, Texas Tech? Sure, we could, and I could die from a cold tomorrow. All right, but it doesn't mean it's going to happen. Now in terms of Indiana and Texas Tech, I can frame that up. Okay, Indiana is in the top 3 of scoring efficiency offense in the country right now. Texas Tech is top 3 in scoring efficiency defense right now, by my calculations. I've been doing those calculations for 25 years. There has never been a national championship winner this century that didn't in the regular season in the top 3 of offense or defense. You have to be super elite. So Indiana and Texas Tech and Ohio State and Notre Dame and Oregon all meet that criteria. But number of recruiters outside the top 13 that have won a national title without an NFL first-round quarterback? 0. So to have a 35 recruiter in Texas Tech and a 32 recruiter in Indiana make the title game, let alone win it. Oh, the most unbelievable result in college football in my lifetime.
All right, quick question. Let me ask you something. All right, good morning, fellas. James Flash Ludeman. I was on a show with him last night. Really love this guy from over in Winchester, Tennessee. We were on a show in Des Moines. Thanks for watching. Also, can we get an update, if you know anything, before we go to Frank, on the Arkansas football coaching job? I was with Hartwell at lunch and my friend Jim McClellan yesterday, who's very involved with the president and everybody at Arkansas. He said, I don't know who we're going to have as a coach.
I've got the answer, but I'll hold.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just curious what the man and the.
You ready for this, guys?
Yeah.
Gus Malzahn to Arkansas.
Oh.
Wow. Dave, I mean, Doug.
It's an itch that both Arkansas and Gus have wanted to scratch for a decade, or longer.
And it's motorcycle free.
Yes.
Oh, man. Frank, you knew it was coming. You knew it was coming. Frank's been waiting all morning to say that. All morning. I was just laughing with our team. We were having a talk about this yesterday about Arkansas. And it's like, that job sucks so bad. So bad. I mean, whoever they're hiring, it's got to be like a native or somebody who can't get a job somewhere else, because look, Arkansas fan, I hate to tell you, going to nine conference games, whoever comes into Arkansas, if they win more than 20 games total in the next 4 years, that is going to be a really good job. So our assumption is everybody's going to look at that job and go, look, I'm just getting hired to get fired. That's it. It's got to be somebody who wants to be there or can't be somewhere else. So I don't know, but we decided the only two guys that would take that thing got to be Gus Malzahn and Bobby Petrino. That's it. I think it's
negotiate a hell of a buyout, and you're sitting pretty.
Oh God, it's the worst job out there.
It's their version of Ogeron back in 2018.
Yeah. And the one thing is they've got to get their collective in order. Their collective is not very big, and then only 6 of the top 33 players in the state are going to Arkansas. They've got to get somebody that understands that market. But
why their collective is that not that good is crazy, because you got the Tyson people, you got the Walmart people. I mean, it's mind blowing. They could coerce those big players into helping out Arkansas for the benefit of the state. I gotta ask my good friend Monsieur Bartoo. And by the way, this reminds me of the time I'm an LSU journalism grad. This reminds me of the time that I accidentally took a calculus class by mistake. I put the wrong number down, and I went in for 2 classes, and they were talking numbers that my head just shook. I said, I got to get out of here. I don't know when the drop date is, but I got to go. I got a question for you.
Yeah.
In your analysis right now, when you said that there are no SEC teams that are perfect, in fact, far from it.
Yeah.
Looks like our default standard bearer, since they survived the 28-point deficit, is going to possibly be A&M. What team do you see that's high up right now who's really, their numbers really can't support that? And who is outside of the 12 right now, whose numbers that you see that maybe in the last 2 weeks, or if potentially if they get in a championship game, who do you see maybe making that jump up based on your binary information?
Okay, let's wander through the SEC. Look, the A&M, you have an elite offense, and a defense that is 81st in defensive scoring efficiency. This is like a crappy Lincoln Riley team at Oklahoma that scored a ton and couldn't stop anything.
Yeah, that's what they were.
So offensively, they're as good as anybody in the country. Defensively, entirely suspect. They just don't have it. They answered that question last week would have been Texas. Just from a number standpoint. Okay. And Rob can attest, I've been on this show and I've said it from day one, never bet on Steve Sarkisian. He has underperformed the talent his entire, he's been in our system for 12 years. 11 of them, he underperformed the talent. We know who he is. Wow. He is who he is. He is not an elite head coach. Never has been. Never will be. Yeah. So I would have said Texas by the numbers, but the rule around here. We don't bet Steve Sarkisian. I would have said the best combination heading into last week was Alabama, offensively and defensively, numbers wise. And then they go crap the bed. I'm like, well, am I eating crazy pills? What's going on? I'm trying to peg this SEC, and it literally drives me nuts.
Yeah, but you kind of saw a little of it with that South Carolina game. You saw just a little crack in that. I mean, just
just there, right? Just enough for you to go, what's going on? Come on, this is the SEC. Get your shit together, And then Oklahoma, wonderful defense. Top 3 defensive coordinator of this century, or at least of the last 15 years, along with Kirby Smart, right? Oklahoma's got no offense, man, right? And when I look at this relative to Ohio State. And fans, stop it. Shut up. Don't give me this. They haven't played anybody. Strength of schedule has no correlation to the quality of the team. None, right? Yeah, so you're trying to tell me that if LSU with Joe Burrow and all those guys played a Sun Belt schedule that they wouldn't have been very good? Shut up, right? Just shut up about strength of schedule. So look at Ohio State, right? You're talking about the best defense, the best unit in college football. So you have to be able to outscore them, and then you have to be able to hold their offense down. Who in the SEC has that right now? There is none. There is nobody you can look me in the straight face unless you are drunk and high and an alumni that says that my team can beat Ohio State. So, Georgia, they haven't had a top 25 scoring efficiency defense now, in almost 3 consecutive years. But Glenn Schumann's the next guy up. Come on. It's just not there. So to answer your question, I thought last week there was a couple. I thought maybe it was Alabama. We thought it was maybe Alabama. It could be anybody, right? So what I would look at is the team that has the best combination of head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator. And right now, I'll still go with Alabama, but the one you got to look at is Ole Miss, simply because Lane can go play. Pete Golding is a top 10 defensive coordinator. Look, if those,
who's going to be coaching them?
That's
right, because look at the trend. Hey, fans, check this out. So anybody whose name you think is on a hot board, go look back the last couple of weeks. They're not covering jack crap.
Sumrall got his ass handed to him at San Antonio.
Smoked by UTSA.
Yeah.
Smoked.
Don't care. I want him anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, Dave.
I
don't think you can. I suppose there's not exactly a metric in your database. It could be added that gets at an interesting dynamic. I'd like your thoughts on, and that is, for lack of a more precise word, a coach who might lurking in his psyche and brain. There might be some insecurities. We've all got one or the other insecurity. For example, that you hear that in the case of Auburn, and this is playing out at other coaching hires, that candidate you really like, but a school would prefer that he retain a DC like DJ Durkin. And there's a lot to like about Durkin if he stays at Auburn as defense. You retain the roster for one, but the guy, Vandy smoked him, but it's going to happen to coaches. The body of work looks pretty good. He's been at great programs, but I know that there's an instrument we use in my work, my day job, called the Judgment Index, and it can get at these things like, does someone operate out of insecurities? Freeze had to call plays because he feels insecure delegating that fully to an offensive coordinator. But is that a metric? I know it can derail otherwise good coaches, but is that anywhere lurking in your database, or is it kind of unmeasurable?
I don't know if it's beauty in the eye of the beholder, right? It really is. And I think this goes back to, I think this affects the Auburns of the world less than smaller programs. Okay. You would hope by the time you get to the LSUs, the Auburns, the Floridas, that the guys that are running these places have the strength to be able to hire anybody that they want. Right. And because our rule of thumb is basically, for a new head coach, a buddy hire is a fire hire. You hire your buddies, you're going to get fired. Okay. And the buddy hire is the insecure hire too. They don't have the connectivity, and they're like, look, Frank, dude, I know you're awesome at DC, and Doug, you suck, but Doug, I know you and you're my buddy, so why don't you come coach with me?
Yeah.
And it makes a more secure building.
Keep the band together.
Which indicates an insecure head coach, right? And that's not uncommon. You can't blame these guys for that. But you know who I blame for that? The athletic director.
Sure. Yeah.
That's who I blame for that. Right?
He's an enabler.
Right. Because the athletic director, for the most part, the common behavior is, I picked the best head coach that I like, and he's going to go pick his staff. Shit, you're cutting the checks for that staff. Shouldn't you know how good the staff is going to be? I think this is a big part of my work, so I can soapbox on this forever. But let's take a look at LSU. Right? I'll use LSU as a great example. All right. And because 9 of the 12 guys in the FBS that have been fired this year are I can point exactly to red flags in staffing. Okay. When Brian Kelly was hired, everybody said A+ home run. First thing, there's no home runs ever. Right? There is risk. It was a very good risk. Brian Kelly's profile, that was the best on paper head coach hire in college football.
And that we've ever had.
Right. And as soon as we found out, he said, I'm keeping Matt House. Boom, I'm done. That guy sucks. I am off. Right? Instantly. And so it's not that Brian Kelly was insecure, to go back to your question, Doug, okay? But the staffing choices kind of indicate direction and maybe who they are. So with the Brian Kelly, the direction for us was he's already 2 years behind. He is keeping Matt House in our numbers. This is a 40th percentile defensive coordinator of the last 15 years. You are going to lose 2 years on the defense. This is the second worst defensive staff, defensive coordinator, D-line, DBs in the SEC, the very first year, second worst defensive scoring efficiency in the SEC. It was like freaking clockwork.
It was
man.
unlike anything LSU's ever put out on a defense, ever.
Right.
And we knew it.
Right. And then guess what? He made the right decision. Smart head coach, right? He fired everybody, brought in a whole new defensive staff, everybody, DC, all of it. Everything was upgraded. We're like, solid. I like that. Oh, you lost your 4.5-star offensive coordinator to Notre Dame? Cool. That's LSU. You got tons of money. You go hire the best guy about Joe Sloan. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Right. And so, right. And so the staffing side of it is simply, I believe, Brian Kelly staffed his way out of a job. Right.
Totally agree.
If he has a DJ Durkin, now I'm not saying it happens this way, but if he has an elite defensive coordinator or a very good one, let's say he had this defense he had this year, day one, right? Let's say he had Baker, and that's day one, right? And you have a Denbrock, maybe Denbrock stays because the defense is good,
Correct.
or Denbrock leaves, and you go out and you hire a Colin Klein. It's this close, folks, right? I mean, people wanted Ryan Day fired 24 games ago. Fired. He's this close to winning back-to-back national titles. I believe Brian Kelly was this close, 2 coaches away from being a national championship contender.
I agree.
Literally.
Totally agree.
No, I think
LSU,
the football gods, Duff, you know I love you. The football gods punished LSU for not continuing crazy in their head coach.
Oh no! Right. Oh, I think
well, we kind of did.
Oh, I think he's crazy.
Yeah, I think he did.
He's crazy. But I also think he was crazy with the staffing.
As it turns out, yes.
Hey, Dave, let me throw something at you. I didn't mean to walk on you. All right. So looking at these staffs, people are asking a lot. Obviously, we got a lot of Gators on here, GatorBaitMedia.com with Buddy and Brendan, and Lane Kiffin. I'm in Memphis. I was at the Touchdown Club Monday night. Like I said the other day, you think there's a lot of gossip among the women at a garden club meeting, or you go to a Touchdown Club meeting, the men get a few drinks in them. I mean, everybody, and when they think that they know what's going on, they start whispering. They start going, "Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, Dave, old JW, he's going to Oregon." I mean, everyone thinks they know, but I didn't find many people that didn't think that Kiffin was going somewhere. Gun to head, if someone said, "All right, Dave, you got to tell me, who do you think?" Let's just speculate here, pure pontification, whatever you can say in your role out loud. Who do you think is going to be the next head coach at Arkansas, LSU, Auburn, and Florida?
Oh man,
I'm putting you on the spot.
No, you can't put me on the spot. Look, Joe Bucan,
if you can't do it, don't do it. Yeah.
No, Joe Bucan hit the curveball. 2 of those 4 are done. 2 of those 4 are done. Okay.
Kiffin to LSU.
On paper, 2, maybe 3 of those 4 are done. Is about as much as I can say on paper.
That's fine.
They may be clients. They're real or potential clients of Bartoo.
Yeah. So no, it's fine. I've done this dance before, but you're not putting me on the spot for something I can't talk about.
Yeah.
I would say 3 of those 4 are done. And so that's about as far as I am going to go with that. I won't even tease what it's going to be.
I'll say this: Moscona was on the show a week ago, Duff, and he poor mouthed us about how LSU is not a rich school or program, but I think LSU is poised to drop about a couple of $100 million with buyouts and Kiffin hires, and I think Kiffin's a done deal to LSU. The team I think should worry a little bit, maybe a lot, is the Florida Gators, because if you were kind of in the sweepstakes for Lane and come up short on that, and you expect to give your fans a splash higher. There's not a splash out there. Am I missing something?
No, I don't splash wise is Lane, right? There's just, I've been saying this for weeks now, is there's more dominoes that need to fall than there are good coaches to fill it. I think there's going to be a lot of people, and there's probably a lot of coaches right now that aren't any good right now in the eyes of the fans. The AD can't fire them because there ain't nothing out there. I mean, who are you going to replace it? Look at Penn State. Penn State is going to take a step down.
Yeah.
In all this discussion, I mean, where are these guys going to go? So I think we're getting a big reset this year. There's going to be a ton of failure coming out of this class of coaches. But what we're going to get is a bunch of young guys that shouldn't have had the opportunity, but were given the opportunity, given the situation, and they're going to turn themselves into something. It's going to be wild, but I think it's going to be wildly disappointing for the vast majority of fans that think their next guy is going to be better than the last guy they had. Virginia Tech got a better guy because Brett Pry sucks, but that's a different story.
Well, if there's going to be failure in this class, it's going to be expensive failure, brother. Holy mackerel. It's going to be a Drano effect of money. Hey, I do have to ask you, I think our kind of fallback might be Dillingham. What do you think about Dillingham from Arizona State? Please don't tell me something bad, because I got a bad feeling when the music stops, we're going to be with the empty chair.
Yeah, I'm not going to tell you anything bad, but I'm also not going to blow fairy dust up your butt either. Okay. Look, Kenny, let's look at the body of work, and let's look at the body of work before he got there. Okay. Was he an elite offensive coordinator before he got to Arizona State? No. He had an average year at Florida State 2 years in a row. He went to Oregon. He had a great year at Oregon, but by the way, they also had top 5 talent,
talent.
A top 10 ease of schedule, and a quarterback named Bo Nix. Okay. Yep. So when Arizona State hired the guy, on paper, if we were all sitting down drinking beers, getting hammered, talking about Dillingham, we'd be laughing at Arizona State, because basically they hired an alumni who had one good year of coaching at the offensive end of it. It's never been a head coach. That guy should fail, right? And then you look at his staff. Oh, he brings in Marcus Arroyo, offensive coordinator, who has sucked his entire career without Justin Herbert, right? And somehow, they got a good DC in Ward. Their running back coach Guino is glue that holds it all together. And they went on this amazing run in the weakest conference, Power 4 conference. Okay, it was like this. It was like the perfect storm last year, right?
Here's
and
what
he's still. And I'm not saying he's not doing a good job this year. In his first year, he was 2-10. It was trash, right? And then caught that lightning in a bottle. What did we talk about before? Anybody can catch lightning in a bottle for 1 year. This is why when we grade over 4 years. There's no one-hit wonders at the Matrix. Okay. And then you look at this year, he's in it, and LSU fans to make themselves feel good would go, oh, he's still in it for the Big 12 championship game. Yeah, with the 101st offense and the 63rd defense.
Lord. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So as much as I love what Kenny has done at Arizona State, it's only 3 years. He is still, I think his grade is overall 40, 48, 43, something like that. He's in the 40s.
Jesus.
Okay. Because he hasn't proven anything, right? I mean, we don't have 4 years.
I'm going to get in the car and go down to New Orleans and talk to my boy at Tulane.
But if you look at his body of work,
Auburn.
Yeah. If you look at his body of work offensively, if you take away last year, just take away last year out of your mind and look at him as an offensive coordinator, his first year at Arizona State and his current time at Arizona State, you just kind of go, okay, he could be good, but we don't have enough work on him. But he could be really bad too, because now he's on the downhill side. He went up last year. He was on top of the roller coaster. It's going down. I don't know when it's going to go back up. So if he's your second, this goes to the example of there isn't much out there. If Kenny Dillingham is your backup to Lane Kiffin, dude, you are rowing upstream. Big
Duff,
time.
I think y'all have got – try this on for size, guys. Kiffin's locked down for a king's ransom to LSU, in my opinion. I think Drinkwitz to Florida. Florida's probably not ecstatic about that, but you could do worse. And if you don't land Kiffin, let's say he stays at Ole Miss, which I think he's making nearly impossible with relationship damage there, then I've heard Brom or even Fitzgerald to Penn State. They could do worse. They could do worse than Brom. I'll let Dave talk about Fitzgerald.
If it's Fitzgerald, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die.
Oh,
Get
God.
ready for it.
Oh my God! No, if it's Fitzgerald, oh my God, that would be the most glorious cut off your nose to spite your face in the history of college football.
Well, we're gonna get coaches. There's a lot of firings that happen before they know who the hell they're hiring.
Ready, fire, aim.
Oh yeah. No. I at least every year for the last 6 years, I have been preparing for a coach getting fired in September. At least one. At least I'm talking to an AD in August or September. At least one. So there is that. But Pat Fitzgerald, oh my God, you want to talk about? I mean, he makes Mark Stoops offenses at Kentucky look good. Okay, so Penn State's not going to have an offense, and the only reason Fitzgerald was good is because he had one of the top 5 defensive coordinators the last 15 years in Hankowitz. I would love to see Penn State hire Pat Fitzgerald. Wow, that would be an incredible downgrade.
All right, Dave. One of the ways I look at coaching searches, hirings, and firings is like managing a stock portfolio. The smartest money managers I've ever heard and talked to said, I don't sell positions unless I've got something better to buy, because I will go broke safely sitting in cash. That's not what my clients pay me to do.
Right.
Doug, you nailed it. If they I like Pat Fitzgerald for Northwestern because there's no expectations there. I mean, that's like, trying to start a hockey team in the Everglades. I mean, what are the expectations? There's no standard. So looking at what you've just said, I love the brutal honesty here. And this is fantastic. And Ellis and Pete Mundy are licking their chops to get you to talk on this stuff. But you had some data on Ole Miss and Lane Kiffin. You sent me an email before the show.
Yeah.
If you could get into that, that will blow people's minds. I'm just going to throw the entree to you.
Oh, I don't have it in front of me right now. I mean, dude, that thing is humongous on Lane Kiffin play calling behavior. Humongous. Actually, when I get off here, I'm gonna send a copy to Doug and Frank just so they can see some of the crazy stuff we're doing.
Love it.
Yeah.
But actually, I don't have that in front of me, honestly, Rob. I don't have it there, and I don't want to go into it too much because I did send it to State. I mean, part of those reports is trying to give somebody an edge. And so it's finding that one or two drive stopping edges to try to change a game. That's all it is. But Brom to Penn State, that'd be great, right? LSU getting Kiffin, that'd be great. And I think Drinkwitz to Florida that was a guy that we circled number 1 right out of the gate. That's the Florida guy. I mean, he fits there better than anybody else, and his numbers are really good too. I can send you all these guys their second half game management numbers. Right? Here's one on Kiffin though. Get this. Down 1 score in the last 7.5 minutes. He hasn't won a game at Ole Miss.
I know. Yeah, that Kentucky game. You're exactly right. The whole time they couldn't go down and score.
Right? No, he is over at Ole Miss in spite of all of his wonderful ability. And on paper, he is absolutely wonderful. Top 3 offensive coordinator, top 10 head coach. He has not won a game. 7.5 minutes left at home, on the road, down 1 score, 1 to 8 points. He's never pulled out a win at LSU or Florida Atlantic.
We beat him last year.
The theory is it changes his play calling behavior or affects his judgment.
It could be, and that goes into, Doug, you talked about trying to get into the minds. The mind is the most glorious thing, in my opinion, because it's intangible. I can't measure it, right? I got data all up the wazoo, but the mind of the coach, the mind of the player. We're talking 18 to 22-year-olds. None of these guys have a frontal lobe. They've been, athletically, they were born on third base their whole lives. Psychologically, when you look down into that stadium at the bottom on the field, that is a cesspool mess of mental yuck down there. I mean, you just, it is, as a head coach, you're herding cats. And so I love the psychology of it because I can't measure it very well.
I can measure it, Dave. There's a 15% margin of error, but it can be measured. It's not perfect, but to not measure at all because it's not perfect is probably not smart either.
No. Yeah, we're gonna go into Doug's hot crazy matrix on players and coaches here.
Well, okay. So looking at all these coaches that are talking about being hired, everybody says he's the right fit. Well, the right fit's the guy that wins at your program. Because I don't remember, and remember when Nick Saban left Michigan State, nobody got on that plane with him. Nobody knew what he was going to do. He had one 10-win season in 5 years at Michigan State and a lot of 6 and 5 seasons. Dave, before you go, when it comes to predictive behavior, the fact that Lane Kiffin in his entire career at Ole Miss has only one road victory against a ranked team in the SEC.
Yeah.
Should that scare you? By the way, I mean, Dave, tell them about these gummies real quick before you answer that.
Yeah, that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
That doesn't bother me. Because you look at the numbers, right? Playing a ranked team in the SEC, well, just about everybody that's ranked in the SEC is a top 15 recruiter, right?
Yeah.
In the SEC in the last in the SEC in the last 10 years, 73% of all conference games go to the better recruiter, ranked or not. Right? So you're at Ole Miss, you're a mid-teens, low 20 recruiter. You just don't have the guns everybody else has, and you make up for it with really good play calling on offense and defense. But are you expected to win a lot of games against teams that are more talented than you? No. Nobody does that. Right? It's like Arkansas thinking they're going to hire somebody that's going to go take them to the playoffs.
It's not magic.
I mean, if you somehow get a Diego Pavia and a Jerry Kill and a Beck all at once, then maybe you can catch lightning in a bottle. As soon as those guys are gone, Vanderbilt's back to sub 500, right? So that doesn't bother me with Lane. Lane knows how to get everything done, and I think if he has more talent like at LSU, if he has an elite DC like a Golding, if he brings that with it, that tells me LSU is just you're in the national championship conversation right now, day one, period.
Dave, I've studied it, but I need to put a finer point on this because it requires a little interpretation. Since 2003, at least as I assess the head coaches, 16 of the winning head coaches were defensive oriented. And now, again, it requires a little interpretation. Is Jim Harbaugh, he played quarterback, but he's believed to be pretty defense oriented. And so that requires some interpretation. I want Auburn, and there are other schools making the same decision to break out of them, try something different, get a CEO style, but defensive oriented head coach. Is there something to that mindset that makes it more likely to build a championship team, or is this random that 16 compared to 5 that were offensive oriented since 2003?
I think that's more random in that, because as I mentioned earlier, you have to be elite at something, right? Because when you look up at that scoreboard, when I talk to head coaches, when I'm doing any sort of seminars on numbers and so forth, for a head coach, every season boils down to just 24 numbers. That's it, 24. Right? When you look at that big funnel, all the data, all the recruiting, all the phone calls, all the money, all the boosters, all the babies kissed. Okay, 24 numbers. The score on the left and the score on the right at the end of 12 games. That's it. There's nothing else, right? And it doesn't matter, okay, if the score is 10-7. Do you have the 10? Right? The score doesn't matter if it's 110 to 107. You got the 110. Okay. So to me,
win, baby.
Yeah. So to me, now obviously I want both. Okay. The most devastating college football team of the last 15 years I've seen on paper, I believe it was 2009 Alabama. Okay. They were number one at the end of the regular season. They were number one in points per snap generated. They were number one in points per snap allowed. Okay. And they were number 2 in the slowest snap rate in college football, behind only Army. Think about that. When the ball is snapped,
complementary football.
Complementary football, right? And this is why when you look at offense and defensive coordinators, do they marry? Okay. If you have a Gus Malzahn that's running a huge tempo and a guy that can't handle more than 65 plays a game, you just run that guy into the ground, and now you don't have balanced football. And so to me, it doesn't matter who you hire. Can that, if I'm an athletic director, I am hiring a guy to have I'm trying to hire a guy to ensure one elite side of the ball. Kirby Smart on defense, Lane Kiffin on offense, Steve Sarkisian on offense, right? You name it. Ultimately, though, you want balanced football and to be the best possible on both sides.
Dave, one quick question. When you bring up 2009 Alabama, the first thought comes to my mind, Patrick Peterson with his foot in bounds on the interception. My question, have you done Matrix on the different review booths, Birmingham in particular, and how they affect particular teams, maybe ones that are in crimson? Have you ever done that sort of analysis?
No. I actually, but we do track officiating crew behavior.
Well, you need to do a review on the review booth, guys, because I'm telling you what, that's a freaking novel. That's a bestseller.
No one knows who they are.
Whoever the entity
actually,
is.
I like that. I was watching a ACC game. I accidentally turned one on, and but they had their booth live. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah, no, and you could you could see the screen and they're talking back and forth, and I'm like, oh, this is cool. This is okay. That makes sense. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Common sense. And then they make the judgment. I'm like, why can't we have this everywhere?
Transparency.
Dave, let me ask you something. I just got a text from a very good friend of mine, Vanderbilt graduate, huge Alabama fan too. And I'm just going to read this to you. I know I've known Ray a long time. I didn't hear it myself, but a caller to the SEC This Morning show just claimed that Paul Feinbaum yesterday said during his show yesterday that Kalen DeBoer, there's no way this is true, contacted Penn State. I mean, that what's going on? I mean, I think nothing leaks, and I think people are speculating on speculation. That's what I think's going on.
I have done dozens of head coach searches. I have done hundreds of staffing searches.
Yeah.
Number of leaks in my 8 years of doing this nationwide. 0.
Yeah.
You're a pro.
Zero. Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, Brad's in. Landers.
I'm here, man. I'm sorry.
Well, hey, look. So let me tell you something. We're talking about these wild coaches searches and all stuff like that. This is Dave. This is really cool stuff. Nothing ever leaks. I mean, and Dave, keep going about that because I want.
Yeah. Well, okay. Yeah. So this is the Landers Ford tip of the day for head coaching searches.
I like it.
And I've been saying it forever. 99% of everything that is said and heard and tweeted and posted on social media and everywhere is crap. It's all made up. None of it exists. It's not real. There's 1% that's real, and that is an agent going to his or her favorite writer and going, please post this. That's it. 99 crap. 1% agent leverage. No leaks. There are no real leaks from a search ever. That is your Landers Ford guaranteed nugget of the day right there.
I love it.
Brad, let me tell you something. This is a cool discussion. And we got a lot of people watching right now. And just quickly, just tell them what's going on at Landers Ford at Poplar and Houston Levy. And then I know you got a question or two for Dave Bartoo and this distinguished panel of scholars.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of people watching, so my dad's watching. He texts me. He's like, hey, are you getting on the show today? And I'm like, I was tied up in something with a cousin. Like, crap. So thanks to my dad for asking. He's watching from California every morning. Gets up early to watch the show on Friday.
Thank you.
Love it.
So man, we got awesome deals. We launched 0 for 60 on F-150, Explorer, Transit, Escape. There's extra money rebate on Escape that stacks with that too. We got big programs. We got big plans for next week too, Rob. So if there's any way I could get 5 minutes on Monday to talk about our Black Friday plans, I would love to do that as well.
Let me just say, yes. Yes.
Executive, yes.
We love y'all.
I appreciate that. So, but 0 for 72 still on all of our EVs. up to $7,500 off on Bronco Sport, which is just a tremendous deal. So we got a lot working here, a lot going on, and really excited about, closing out this month of November. We've had a lot better month this year than last year. So want that momentum to keep on rolling.
Absolutely, man. And look, LandersFordMemphis.com. Can't find a better corporate partner. Brad Bellamy, Kent Ritchie, the owner, Don Kitchens. Every one of those people are the most civic-minded people you will ever find. Look at the names on stadiums and good causes like Agape. If there's a good cause in the Mid-South, I can assure you Landers Ford and those people are involved in it. But
Thanks, Rob.
thank you, bet, and we'll have you back on Monday. Dave will be back on Monday too, so I'll definitely send you the link for that. Dave, yeah, I know we Pete and Ellis will be crying. The coaches are both watching right now. Hello, Pete. Hello, Dave. Dave, now we mentioned that thing about DeBoer. How do you rate DeBoer as a coach? Doug, Doug and I are like, I got an older daughter that graduated from Alabama. The rest of us are Auburn, Vol for life wife. Doug got an Alabama daughter. You can't hide from it. What do you think is going to happen with that?
I don't think anything's going to happen with that.
I don't either. It's crazy.
And if it does, somebody just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's great leverage because if the board did leave, who are you getting at Alabama? Right. I mean, at that point, if you're the agent for DeBoer, doesn't that put Alabama people in panic? Right. It's man, we can't get rid of this guy. There's nothing out there. We're already too late to the party. Lane's already going somewhere.
Is everybody waiting for the Kiffin shoe to drop before all these jobs get filled? I mean, is that what the big deal is at this point? Because I mean, it's like I'm kind of surprised none of these other.
Yeah, no, I don't think so. As we were saying earlier, I think of the SEC ones, I think 3 out of 4 of them are already done. Okay. It just hasn't been, So, I don't think we're waiting on that. I think there's a level of professionalism though that everybody wants their guy to stay focused on their current job.
Sure.
And we're seeing that is very, very difficult, as we mentioned earlier in the show. There's a lot of these guys that are on hot boards. They're losing football games. They're not covering football games either. And so no, it's everything is always, in addition to the 99% BS that's out there, the other thing is the news cycle is usually 2 to 3 weeks behind reality, right? So by the time you hear the announcement of who's going where 2-3 weeks ago, it was already done. So just be patient. Everything will fall into place. I know it's fun to speculate, but just don't get too crazy about it, folks.
The only thing about Ole Miss, on your point, Dave, Ole Miss has to know if they need to start a coaching search.
Right?
Because I believe he's gone to LSU. I mean, they're behind the 8 ball.
Right. What about Missouri? Right?
Yeah.
If Louisville loses Brom, what about, I mean, you look at the domino effect of this. This is a tsunami of dominoes, right?
Yes, it is.
It is just a ripple effect that is going to tear across college, because you think about it, for every one big time job, LSU is going to create a ripple of 3 or 4 openings. Right? You multiply 12 times that, we're going to have 30, 40 different head coaches get cycled in and out, offensive coordinator. I mean, college football is going to turn upside down in the next 90 days.
And don't think this poker player doesn't realize you've said the word LSU a hell of a lot more than you said the word Florida today. I'm just letting you know. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
That gives me great hope.
Hey, guys, I
was mostly talking about LSU and their crappy offensive defensive coordinator.
We've run out of time. We've run out of time, guys. This is absolutely awesome. Brad Bellamy back on with us Monday morning. Dave Bartoo, thank you more than you know. Look at the O. I love this guy. The
Bartoo's
Frenchman.
the man.
Bartoo it's a like Chuck calls it Dave Bar Tuesday. And Frank knows Chuck. Chuck's very good, and Heath with the words, but hey, hempforpros.com. If you got aches, pains, you need sleep, order these products. I promise you, I've got some on the way, Dave. I know you get busy, but let me know when they're coming. But I'm telling you, they work. I know a lot of people that are using these gummies. They work. You will save yourself a lot of misery by ordering from hempforpros.com. And also the great folks at Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Clothing Company. They're open every day of the week starting Sunday, including on Black Friday weekend, and Rumble Boxing Gym. How you fight is how you live. Hey, man, We are the most blessed people in the greatest country in the history of the world. Most often we see the face of Christ in the least among us. Find ways to go out and help people. Your words and actions go a long way every day. Thank
you
you
had
for
something?
Executive Producer Brendan Martin.
Goal to Go show coming up in 15 minutes. Come on back.
I was going to say, come back to this channel in 15 minutes, man. Everybody take care. Have a great weekend. Duck season is here, folks.
Well,